All right. Well, thank you all for being here today for another of our Lex Advanced workshops. This one is going to be doing actually some revisiting of some stuff we've talked about in the past, but also really kind of focusing on some stuff that's very contemporary in terms of assessment strategies in light of the new world of generative artificial. With that, I'm going to hand things over to Janice to get us started.
All right. Thank you very much. As Jay mentioned, the topic, our focus today is online assessment strategies in the age of AI. And it's a timely topic. We do have a resource page. So these slides and resources that we're going to reference today can be found on this wiki page. I think I dropped that in the chat for the producer and the voice of the chat. So if you can share that.
Yes, we've been sharing it.
Okay, you're on top of it. All right, this topic is actually our 23rd in our Lex Advanced series. And as I mentioned, it is focusing on online assessments and what we need to know and how we need to deal with this because of or in light of AI. So what we would like to accomplish today is talk about AI and education and what that landscape looks like. We'll talk a little bit about how students are using AI, and then how you can design AI resilient assessments. And I'm going to end with some strategies for online assessments in Brightspace. I always like to tie these topics back to the Lex course and the Quality Matters standards. So as you know, the Lex course was designed around the Quality Matters standards. And the topic today, the standards that apply would be 3.1, the assessments measure the achievement of the stated learning objectives or competencies, and 3.4, the assessments used or sequenced, varied, and suited to the level of the course. We did ask you all to watch a video as a pre-workshop assignment. So hopefully you got a chance to look at that video. If not, there's a link to that video on the resource page. You can also scan this QR code. It would get you there as well. But we wanted you to view that video because we wanted to have a shared understanding of the challenges so that during this workshop, we could focus on solutions. And then we asked you to consider which challenge might be the most relevant to your course and why. Also, today we're going to have a drawing for the book, The Opposite of Cheating, Teaching for Integrity in the Age of AI. We'll have that drawing at the end. So one lucky participant will win a copy of that. Before I get too far into this, I'm wondering, what is your level of concern? How concerned are you about AI's impact on online assessments? I didn't set up a online poll, so I'm just curious, is there anybody who's a 1? I'm not concerned at all. All right, and I see in the chat I've got a 5.
Yeah, 5 and a 4.
And a 4. All right, okay. So hopefully, hopefully by the end of this, we're going to revisit this and see what your level of concern is after we talk about all of this. All right, and so I want to start with AI and the education and the landscape and how that looks. And I just want to point out that there's a lot of AI tools out there, and there are sites like this one. There's an AI for that. That's actually putting these together so that you can easily find them. And at the time I took the screenshot, there was over 40,000 AI tools that could do over 13,000 tasks and over 5,000 jobs. So someone looking for an AI tool could come to this website. Also, here's another one, Gen AI Works, where they list the top 21 AI tools for every job, and they sort it based on category. Like, are you looking for an AI tool for images, video, research, productivity? So it's relatively easy to try to find an AI tool for the job. I wanted to point out about smartwatches, which I think you all know, that smartwatches can be used for a lot of useful things. However, as you can see from this YouTube video, that there are some who are sharing information about how you can pass an exam with an Apple Watch. So you just search on YouTube, watch the video, and they're giving you some suggestions as to how to pass an exam. You also see that there are smart glasses out there. And like this one, Google's new smart glasses, they advertise it for travelers. You can get live translation and navigation. So smart glasses are out there that could be used with AI. Apple just introduced AirPod Pro 3, where you can do live translation and have a conversation live in your ear. And in the news recently was this homework helper. It's a Chrome extension. And educators were not too happy about the fact that Google made this available, and then they put a pause on it. However, the pause isn't really a pause because it is still there. And I have this video, and it was shared by a professor who was explaining how that homework helper Chrome extension actually worked. And so I'm not sure if you saw this or something like this, but I'm going to play this so that we can see what he was sharing.
This is a demonstration of Google's new homework help tool that's now available in the Google Chrome browser. So you'll see that I'm in Canvas and I'm in a quiz, and I want to use the new homework help tool to help me answer the questions on this quiz. So all I have to do is go up to the address bar and click the homework help button. Now this button appears automatically when I'm in Canvas. So I click the button, and then I have to select the question or the item on the page that I want help with. So I can just select that. AI immediately goes to work over here on the right-hand side of the page, and it comes up with the answer to my question, which is argumentation. So it gives me an explanation for all of that, but once I see what the answer is, I can just close this out and answer the question on the quiz. Then I can go to the next question. For this question, it's the same process. I go to homework help. I select the question. AI goes to work, answers the question. Love of wisdom is the answer. I close the window, and I type love of wisdom into the answer box, and then click next. You can see how easy it is for students to just click back and forth in the browser using the homework help tool to answer the questions that are in the quiz or the test that they're taking. One option for being able to stop this from happening, or to stop students from being able to use it as easily, is to use the Respondus Lockdown browser. And because it's Respondus' Lockdown browser, it doesn't have the homework help option, and it also locks them into the window so that they can't use another tool while they're taking the test. So that is one option to keep students from using this homework help tool. If you have any questions, please let me know. Thanks.
All right, so I should have checked as I was playing that. Hopefully you all could hear the sound in the video.
Yes, and Candace, thanks for showing that, because I had read about that, but to see how it works, that's so powerful. Thank you for putting that together.
You're quite welcome. Now, at the end of his video, he mentioned using Lockdown Browser, and I'm going to talk about that toward the end of this workshop, and how you could use Respondus Lockdown Browser to work with that. All right, and this is an example of the Claude AI Chrome extension that was used to take a test. Now, I don't have a video for this, but this was shared by a professor. And what happened with this Claude AI Chrome extension is that he used the extension and asked it to go into this is a Moodle course, to go into the course, find the assignment, take the test, and submit the quiz. And so you can see over here on the right, the AI extension was answering the questions, indicating, yes, that was correct. And then all 10 questions were answered correctly and gave them a summary. I successfully completed it. I read and analyzed all 10 questions, selected the correct answers, so it checked off the correct answers, click in the checkbox, and successfully submitted the quiz with a perfect score of 100. Right? Pretty interesting.
Yeah.
And so this is another example, and this one was video was created by Jay using Comet by Perplexity. And let's watch this one.
I'm going to test Perplexity's new Comet browser and see how it handles being asked to complete assignments and quizzes in Brightspace. I'm going to go down and just jump right into the deep end with the final essay for a class. You can see the instructions here. I'm going to open up the assistant. And I'm going to ask in a very simple prompt if it can write this essay for me. See, it's thinking a little bit, but it comes back and it says it can't do it because that would be a violation of academic integrity, and because more specifically this assignment has restrictions on the use of generative AI specified in the assignment. And so I think that's a pretty interesting response to get here. Let's switch over and see what it can do with a quiz. Now this is an older quiz. It was created before ChatGPT was unveiled a few years ago, so I don't have an AI policy, but I'm going to ask it if it can complete this quiz or test. I don't know if asking it or using a different term matters really. But you can see these are a bunch of short answer questions. And it's thinking, but it comes back similarly saying that using AI for this quiz would be a violation of academic integrity.
Right. So here it seems to realize that that's going to be a problem for me to try to answer this and do your work for you. And then this is an example of Google Lens, which is also the homework helper. And so I created this video to show you my experience. So let me play this. I'm creating this video as a demonstration of what happens with a Brightspace quiz and the Google Lens, also known as the Google Homework Helper. So I'm going to preview this quiz in my Brightspace course. We'll start the quiz, and I have the settings such that all the questions appear on one page. There are 10 questions worth 1 point each, and it's a combination of multiple choice questions, pulling from a question pool, as well as some questions that have images in it, and then one short answer question here at the end. So I will use my mouse and press the right mouse button, and I get some options here, and this one says search with Google Lens. And when I do that, I have the option of selecting an area on the page to have Google Lens evaluate, or I could potentially do one question at a time, or over here in this box, I can ask Google Lens to answer the question. So that's what I'm going to do. So I'm asking Google to answer the test questions and submit the test. Google then does some processing and comes up with some answers here. So for question number 1, which of the following is not true? Answer A. And then question number 2, it says that answer is C. Question number 3 is also C. Question number 4, it believes that answer is A. Question number 5 is also A. Question 6 is C. Question 7, it's suggesting Columbus is 3, 2, and 1, which I do not believe to be correct. It's suggesting 3, 2, and 1. I believe this one is going to be 2. This one would be 1, and this one should be C. But we'll see. So this one is suggesting Columbus is 3, Cabot is 2, and Magellan is 1. 3, 2, and 1. Okay, and so for this one, it's suggesting that the first one is 4, the second one is 3, third one is 2. The fourth one is 1. Interesting, in reverse order. Question number 9, it believes the answer is 4, when I know this one is incorrect because the correct answer should be number 3. And then the last one, fill in the blank. It should be the bins. All right, so I've answered all the questions with the suggestions that it provided. And at the end, I will submit the quiz. And just as I suspected, I have some problems here. So with this one, they're equally weighted, so I only got 1 of these correct. And this one, they're also equally weighted, so only 1 of these is correct. This one, 0, as I mentioned, this correct answer would have been number 3. And the short answer question is not answering, so it didn't give me any points for that at all. Anyway, this is not good. The overall score is 6.58 out of 10. Google Lens does have a message here indicating that the responses may include mistakes, and we'll take a further look and see where those mistakes may have happened. The bins is the correct answer for number 10, so it looks like Brightspace just did not grade this short answer question correctly. The correct answer to question number 9 was 3. So Google Lens was unable to analyze the image in this case and identify the correct answer. For question number 7, where we have this image, there is an error in the question design because the image itself actually only has 2 routes, route A and B. A would have been Magellan is the correct answer, and B is Columbus, leaving John Cabot as not showing a route for C. So I would have expected that the AI would have at least gotten A and B correct and then assumed that C should have been the correct answer and perhaps indicated that in this question. I think if a student was actually looking at this question in their exam, they probably would have realized that the image itself only has 2 routes, but yet the question choices was presenting for 3 routes. Question number 8 was also a matching question with an image and some answer choices. And for this one, the answer choices were all correct in the system. However, the AI only got 1 out of 4 correct. All right, so in my playing around with this, there were some issues with things that weren't very straightforward. But like I said, you did see the message that it says in small print, there may be some mistakes in what's being presented. There was mention of using Respondus lockdown browser, and for one reason for that is you're locked into the exam environment, so you can only use the Respondus browser. And so you wouldn't have been able to do a right mouse or get to any other resources. However, if a student is using the Respondus lockdown browser without a recording of their screen or of the webcam, they could then use another device. And that's what this video shows. So I'm just going to play this.
Hi everyone, this is Simple Dad here. In this video, I'll show you how to do your homework with Google Lens. So with Google Lens, you can basically solve any math equations or any word problems. So let me show you how to do this. So here we're going to use the Google widget, which looks like this. Now to solve a math problem on your Google widget, go ahead and use the Google Lens, which looks like that, the camera icon. From here, go ahead and choose homework. And now you want to go ahead and point your lens to a equation or maybe a problem, or you can go ahead and upload it from your phone library. So here I've got a math question and I want you to solve it. So I'll go ahead and select that. I'll go ahead and scroll down, and this will basically show me how to solve that problem. So if I'm stuck on a math problem or a tricky question, I can snap a picture with Google Lens and it'll break down the steps or provide me a helpful resource to guide me through the answer. So there you go, guys. That is how to do your homework with Google Lens.
All right. And then the last examples that I wanted to show was about the document version history. There is a workaround to this. So I've seen where some professors want students, for example, if you're submitting a Google Doc, they want to look at the version history so that they can see if you're doing like a lot of copying and pasting of text in there. However, there are some workarounds to that, as I said, in this one called Dewey.ai says that it's an auto typer and that it can create a document for you with a full version history. And then the next one is this paste to type. And so with this one, you can tell it, I want you to type at a certain speed, but I need a certain error rate. Pause after you punctuate, maybe pause some minutes between the paragraphs so that it simulates me struggling to type. Okay. All right. So
Holy cow.
these these things, yeah, can present a challenge for assessing what a student really knows. I don't really want to necessarily harp on that. I do want to talk about a little bit about, though, how students indicate or how they're reporting that they are using AI, because I think AI, most students are trying to use AI to help them with their academic work and not necessarily for cheating. So this was a report that CopyLeaks did a survey of students, and the students indicated here that they're using AI for brainstorming, drafting outlines, generating initial drafts, paraphrasing or rewording, and summarizing their readings, also for grammar and speller check, solving math problems, creating study guides. So they're treating AI more like a learning partner, not a shortcut for finishing their assignments. And I believe most students are probably using AI in that way. And so when asked what's motivating them, they say they want to save time, improve quality, generate new ideas, or understand complex topics. And this trends with what we experienced with students here at Xavier who shared how they were actually using AI. So what do? You design AI resilient learning experiences and assessments, right? And so we tend to talk about backwards design a lot because it is important. So in backwards design, you're going to start with your learning goals and then the assessments that you want, and then come up with the learning activities rather than coming up with, I want to do this activity and then try to figure out how does this fit my learning goals. So start by working backwards, right? And so MIT Sloan School created this, what they call the 4 steps to AI resilient learning experience design. And there's a link to this on our resource page. And basically it is that backwards design, but they've added an initial step here about learners. So review the students' backgrounds, their goals, and their likely interactions with AI. And then look at your learning outcomes, identify what they should know, what they should understand or be able to do by the end of the experience, given AI's capabilities. Then look at the assessments, decide how they're going to demonstrate that they've achieved that, given AI's capabilities. And then plan your activities and resources and skills, given AI's capabilities. So in other words, take AI into consideration when you are doing this. And then always this is tied back to Bloom's taxonomy. So, you know, when you're assessing the students, then what level, what skill are you trying to achieve in terms of Bloom's taxonomy? So lower order thinking skills are lower on the pyramid, and then higher order skills are higher up. So is it really that they need to remember and understand, or are you striving for something higher on the pyramid? And so an AI resilient course is one that's going to be flexible, adaptable, transparent, so the students understand what the assignment is, how they're going to be assessed, those sort of things. Everything is transparent to them. And then integrate opportunities for alternative learning pathways into your course. When you're designing AI resilient assessments, this resource came from the Division of Learning and Teaching from Charles Sturt University, but with some ways you can rethink your assessment strategies, right? So the first one here is emphasize the learning process. So focus on the learning outcomes rather than on the grades, right? How did the students get there? What is their learning journey? And then there's some examples here, group projects and learning journals. So I took this information and I actually went to Gemini AI and said, expand on this idea. So you're a higher education educator looking to rethink your assessment strategies in the age of AI. You're looking for assessment strategies that emphasize the learning process, provide examples of some redesigned assignments, assessments that emphasize the learning process. And it said, all right, let me think. And so it came up with some suggestions like this first one, a process portfolio. So this would have been the traditional approach. And then you see the redesigned approach, and it gives you some examples. And so the rest of this conversation with the AI, there was some think aloud presentations, and again, traditional approach, redesigned approach, some examples, iterative design projects with reflection, metacognitive journals and learning logs, peer review with structured feedback. And then finally, it ended with this, have clear criteria, clearly define the criteria for evaluating that learning process. Provide the students with regular feedback, emphasis on the reflection, and then about low stakes activities. So any of these that I'm presenting here to get additional ideas, suggestions or whatever, like I said, you can take advantage of the AI to get those. So other strategies that they list was incorporating authentic assessments. So using real world scenarios, and they provided some examples for those. Promote critical thinking, so design tasks that require analysis, evaluation, and problem solving. Do individualized or personalized assessments and allow students to have an input in developing those assessment topics. Have live or recorded interviews or presentations, right? So conduct those through oral presentations or interviews. Create questions that require some unique application of knowledge, so something that is novel or unique. And then peer assessments, incorporate peer evaluations to encourage active learning and self-reflection. Frequent low-stakes assessments. So use those regular low-stake assessments to reduce cheating and provide continuous feedback, like weekly quizzes or weekly journal entries. Promote creativity and problem solving, integrate tasks that require creative and unconventional thinking. Integrate real life situations and practical experiences. So link the curriculum to real world situations and practical experiences. Also embrace AI as a critical thinking partner. So if you build your assessment from the start to be clear about how students leverage the AI as a partner in the critical thinking process. And so at Oregon State University, they have this revised or revisited Bloom's taxonomy. And so here you have the levels of Bloom's, but in this column here, distinctive human skills, and then how Gen AI can supplement the learning. So if you're at the create level, they would engage in both creative and cognitive processes that leverage human lived experiences. And AI can support this by brainstorming processes, suggest a range of alternatives, indicate potential drawbacks and advantages. And so you see how you can use this taxonomy revisited to help you with that. And I want to also mention considerations for neurodivergent students. So ensure that the assessments are inclusive and they cater to diverse learning needs and provide alternative examples and support for those students. And so now I am going to turn this over to Jay for conversation.
Yes, please ask the question.
We went to the next part. So when you did your thing with a comment, and it said it's to, I can't do this, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Did you challenge it? Did you ask? The teacher said it was okay. Did you do any follow-up? Like,
No, I didn't play with it to that extent yet.
Okay. Because I had a colleague on a committee I'm on through APA who did that exactly what you did.
Mm-hmm.
For he teaches asynchronous at a community college. Mm-hmm. He did it through Canvas, and it did the whole course.
Yeah.
So something about yours was triggering that academic integrity, or you think it was the timing? He did it like 2 days ago, and you did it a week ago.
I don't know. That's a good question. I haven't gone back and tried. And we are going to be meeting with the Brightspace folks in a couple of weeks, another week or so, and asking for their thoughts on these things that have just now come out. I'm not even quite sure what to call them yet.
Yeah.
The AI where it takes over your browser.
Thank you. I just wondered if you could ask it what it would say if you just said,
Yeah.
that's all right.
I would like to. I just haven't really devoted the time to sitting there and trying to break it as much as I can. So what we wanted to do is give you all a chance, both in person and online, to talk about a couple of things. And specifically what we'd like to ask you is, if you think about one of your courses, what is the most significant challenge you face related to students using AI to complete? So for any one of your courses, what's the biggest challenge? Is it complete? Is it exams? Is it an essay? Is it research? What's the biggest risk in that course?
So you asking for answers?
Yes, please.
But mine, I'm teaching advanced research I'm teaching advanced research this semester, and I thought I had it all figured out because I do each rubric's got an oral component, and we do writing in class, and we use AI. I come train them how to use because I believe in AI literacy, and it's just kind of gotten next level. I don't know that I'm meeting my backward design. I don't know if I'm meeting my learning objectives the best anymore because I don't really know what the learning objectives. But it's the writing of original, reading literature and getting a hypothesis and being able to articulate that right.
Danielle, folks online? Share a thought. What's for one of your classes, what's the most significant challenge or risk that AI poses?
I teach a lot of math level courses. There's already a lot of student transactionalism. So in general, I have a weekly primary source analysis as the foundation of our weekly conversations, discussions, and students openly use AI on it, and it undermines any work in class to build those historical reasoning skills, cultural perspective skills that are part of the curriculum. So that's my biggest challenge.
Anything from the folks online? Voice of the chat.
Sorry, we don't have any dialogue on this specific question. Although Andrea did raise the question of would a student ever say they used AI to cheat?
I don't know that they would say they used it to cheat. I have been using, I think pretty successfully, having students, for this assignment, this is how you might be, how you can use AI if you choose to. And then if you do, you need to tell me, and you need to provide me with a link to the conversation you have. And I think so far I've had some students who are doing that. I'm sure there are some who are probably kind of not doing that and still using it.
But Audra, we in my research class, I say now, so we just do this activity now, get on your favorite AI, and I talk about what my favorite is and why, and then I say now compare it, and now let's look at it side by side, and now, so because of that, because we're doing it in class, then they start to say, hey, here's how I used it to help with this assignment, here's how, so they are talking about it.
Yeah.
And I'm glad, still makes me a little nauseated, but I'm glad.
I have mine. I mean, they do a lot of reflective writing, and so several of them have said, you know, I ran this through AI to clean up some of the grammar for me to help me kind of clarify my points. And I got to be honest, the reflections are better, and I don't think they're made up because they're very kind of personal writings. So you know, I think there's a nice balance that can be found with some of that. How about for folks, if you don't have one specific one? But what's a strategy you might use today based on what we've discussed so far to deal with some of this? Is there an assignment you could tweak, you could change to make it a little more resilient?
I don't know, Janice, when you were going through those slides, I know you were going through them kind of quickly, and I was looking at some of the things that made it resilient. There were a couple of them, I can't think of what they were, I'm sorry. I thought, I'm not sure, like, I'm not even sure, I think AI could hit some of those. They sound good, but I'm not sure they're as AI resilient as we might hope. So I think
Sorry.
So I think the biggest thing I got was, over the Christmas break, I need to really, for this class that I'm talking about, really go back to my backwards design. So I was really glad to see that slide that added backward design for AI. And I actually wrote down the phrase, given AI's capabilities, right? Because that was the end of each one of those. And so I really think going back and looking at I just think I might change my learning outcomes, giving AI's abilities. Like, you know, my learning outcomes in this class is the same as it's been for decades. And I just think, yeah, I'm gonna have to really look at that, given AI's capabilities. So I was glad to have that.
And as folks are talking, I'm just going to take over the screen here to share a couple tools. If you're not quite sure, you know, what might work, and hopefully you're seeing this all right now. We do have a couple tools to kind of recommend to you. Let me get this out of the way. And these are linked on our CAT wiki page as well. This one is the AI Resistant Pedagogy Studio. It's got a whole lot of great resources in it. It's got a lot of information about the different AI tools that are out there. It's also got this framework that it suggests. There's lots of frameworks now coming out. Janice shared one from, I think it was from MIT, and here's some information about that. Right, they've got a different framework here, so there's lots of this kind of coming out. Here's different structures you can use. But this website also has what they call the toolkit, and you can go through and talk about the kind of assignments you're working on. You can, as Janice was saying, select the level of blooms that this assignment really needs to stress for your students. Right? You can kind of choose a different approach that you're going to challenge to do. So is this, instead of just traditional lit review, is this going to be a collaborative inquiry instead? Or is this going to have some authentic engagement to it? Or is it going to stress metacognition? Let me go ahead and click on that. And then generate my redesign. Right? And so now here's some ideas for you about how you might take that standard lit review assignment and make it a little more AI resistant. Right? So it says, this plan transforms a traditional lit review into a more engaging AI-resistant AI process and reflection portfolio. Right? I'm not going to read all this, but I know the text is a little small. Focuses on the strategy of metacognition encourages students to move beyond lower order recall and demonstrates a deeper level of cognitive engagement. Right? It's AI resistant because it's students who are thinking about their answers to the questions. Right? It assesses the uniquely human capacity for self-reflection. And like I said, I've got freshmen this semester, all freshmen. They're doing a lot of reflective writing, and I have not come across one yet where I feel like somebody has just gone out and had the AI do it, because everything in there is like, what do you think about this? What do you compare about this? They were just writing a response, a reading response, and all of them had to make a connection between the book and their own lives. And so they're all writing about their grandmothers, grandfathers, and the experiences they've had, or the music they grew up listening to. And I'm really very skeptical that AI would have done a good job.
This is so interesting to me because I think because this is what a cool tool. But I think we would use this and like, oh, now I'm gonna take that and I'm gonna make it my own. And I don't think that's cheating.
No.
And yet students, some of the things that we showed, like the students are cheating, it's not cheating.
Yeah.
We don't think that's cheating on our part. Why would we do it on the students' part?
And that's why I think giving them a framework of what's appropriate, what's not appropriate.
Yeah.
This tool is a little bit different. Instead of focusing on a specific assignment, this tool is about making your course more AI resilient. It's a little confusing because when you log in, it looks like maybe they want a specific course from their school, but all they're doing is using this to catalog and kind of title the course. So then you come through and you say, so what are the course outcomes? And again, we come back to Bloom's, right? And then we go, not going to go through the whole process, but this one's really focused on redesigning the course to make the whole thing a little more resilient to AI, right? So it's that same process, basically, obviously just at a much grander scale. Like I said, these are both linked from our CAT wiki. There are a couple of really great interactive tools that you can use to play with, just to kind of see what happens. And like Elizabeth said, this is not cheating, right? We are using these tools to do our work more effectively, right? And I think, again, coming back to the bigger question of AI, if we can teach our students how to use those tools to do their work more effectively and not just do the work for them, that's what we need to do.
I think one of the struggles I'm having right now too with that, because I do know I'm 100% on board with that philosophy. But like Danielle, I'm teaching a lot of freshmen, and because we're talking in class, a lot of them are just having birthdays this semester and just turning 18. So their frontal lobes aren't even fully developed, and they're not even like close to fully developed. And yet, so I agree with, yes, we need them how to use effectively, but how do, like, so that's the question I'm starting to have, is like, how do we even get them to baseline to know then how to use it effectively, right? They have to have the baseline content knowledge or baseline something. Like, it feels like, I don't know, it feels like, and I wonder if because academics are the ones thinking about it or adults are the ones thinking about it, is feels like we're starting, that is the words, like we're to engage them at this level when they're this.
I would, from talking with students, I would say, and I want to make sure I can hand this back to Janice because she's got some specific stuff in Brightspace that we want to make sure we can cover as well. But a lot of the students I've talked to about AI have said, we don't know what our teachers think about this stuff, and so we're scared to even mention it.
Yeah.
Right? And so then we're scared to even have the conversation with, is this appropriate or is this inappropriate?
They will be called cheaters.
Right, yeah. Because some of their teachers have said that's cheating. And so then their assumption, if we don't say anything else, is, okay, you think I'm cheating too, right? If I do this. And so I'm not going to tell you I'm doing it, even though I find it really useful. We've had some great students talking about the ways they've used AI to better prepare for their classes, better study for their tests. And so it's like Janice was saying, it's really great to hear some of them talk about these things. But sometimes they're very hesitant, I think, especially the younger ones, to even acknowledge it because they've come through high school with this stuff now. Right? This stuff came out when they were sophomores, maybe your freshman. I can't keep track anymore.
Yeah.
And they were probably told by their high school teachers, don't do it, that's cheating.
Yeah.
So I'm not sure what level to really engage them on either. But I think we need to kind of figure that out. I think that's a really good point.
I would just.
All right, Janice, I think I'm going to hand things back over to you. I think I stop sharing so you can take back the screen. Thank you all for sharing. As well. And now Janice is going to talk about some specific strategies in Brightspace.
Right. I just want to double check you all can still hear me, right?
Yep.
Okay, great. Yeah, so some strategies for your online assessments in Brightspace. A couple of these remind the students of the academic integrity policies, perhaps require them to sign an academic integrity contract, create questions that require higher order thinking, because the AI has does a better job of answering or doing work at the lower levels. And then if you're using the quizzes tool, use varied question types. So not all questions being multiple choice or true, false, or whatever. Vary your question types. Restrict the testing window. So have the test so that the students can only take it during a certain window. If it's a test that you're administering in class, there's the option to set it up to be a synchronous test, such that everybody can start the test at a certain time. And if somebody starts, say, 15 minutes late, they still have to end with the rest of the class. This simulates more of what would happen if they were actually sitting in a face-to-face class, taking a test on paper, right? Set up the exam to display the questions one at a time. As you saw in my example, all of those questions were on one page, which made it a little bit easier for the AI to go through. Prohibit backtracking, so students answer a question and then they can't go back. Randomize the questions and the answer choices. Utilize question pools so that not all the students get the same questions. Maybe if you had a pool of, say, 100 questions and everybody was supposed to get 20 of those, then no two students would likely get the same 20 questions. Allow students one attempt to take the test. Make sure you disable the email instant message and the alerts within Brightspace. And then plan for technical issues. So it's very important that you require the students to take a practice test before they would actually take a test that's going to be graded. This way they would understand how the quizzes tool works, how they get in, how they submit, move from question to question, how they actually submit the test. So this practice test doesn't have to be with a test with complicated questions in it. It just needs to simulate more of what they're going to see when they actually get into to actually take the test. Delay the score availability. So if your testing window is today, perhaps have the scores available for the students to be able to see tomorrow, right? Or sometime after the testing window. Refrain from using your publisher test banks with the questions verbatim. And then when you want to have the students see their results of how well they did, excuse me, then only show them the questions that they answered incorrectly rather than showing them all of the questions that were on the quiz.
Janice, quick question about this one. Why the publisher's test bank verbatim? Is that because they're out there?
They're all Quizlet.
The questions are probably out there, yes.
And they may have even been trained on. Yeah.
Yeah, correct, okay. Correct, correct. All right, and then as in that video, the suggestion was use Respondus Lockdown Browser and Respondus Monitor. And for those of you who may not be familiar with Lockdown Browser, it is its own browser. It's a custom browser. And so the students are prevented from doing certain things in there, accessing websites, email, pressing the right mouse button to get to the search with Google Lens or whatever. It secures the exam, right? And it can be easily applied to any quiz or test in Brightspace. So when you use the Respondus Lockdown browser, these are things that the students cannot do. This is a list, and there are more. But they can't print questions or share answers, access other applications. They can't open new tabs. They can't do any searching or whatever. So they are inside of the browser taking the test. Respondus Monitor is an add-on proctoring feature for the Lockdown browser. So it will monitor the students, and it can record them using the webcam. It can also record their desktop, and it would record the microphone. When the students are actually using Respondus Monitor, there's live chat support available for them 24/7. So if they're taking a test and perhaps it's late hours, they're having some technical issue, then there is live chat support available for them that they can access. And specifically with Respondus Monitor, it records and analyzes the exam session, and any suspicious behavior is going to be flagged and ranked. So, for example, actions that the students might do if they move out of view of the webcam, looking away or not being detected. Environmental things like someone else entered the room, or there's a disruption in the internet connection. If they're using an external resource, or if the webcam is recording them and it sees a camera or device in the recording, it's going to flag that. And so you'd be able to see that. I do want to make this note about flags. Because there's a flag, it's not a proof that the student was cheating. It just indicates that something unusual, out of the ordinary happened, right? There could be some false positives, might be poor lighting. Student decided to put on a hat so you can't see their face. They put their hands on their face. So it could be anything that like that could create a flag. And then you as the instructor would actually look at the flags, and it'll show you thumbnails of the video, and then you make a decision as to what happened, or if you need to investigate that further, right?
I saw a question from Elizabeth. I lost my internet, so I don't know. But I
There's
saw.
a question.
That's okay. I can ask it really quickly. So I wanted to thank you for all this really great information. I wanted to put a very short, like 5-minute movie into a test with Respondus Monitor. Is there any way for me to do that, or are they going to have to just watch this movie on a separate device?
That is a very good question. I think you should be able to embed the video into the question. It seems like you should be able to, because the Brightspace editor is there where you're entering the question itself. But that's something, let me check into that. But it seems like you should be able to embed that inside of the question itself.
Yeah, right now today, I'm not giving the test till next week, but I went in there today and looked at the preview, and yeah, it wouldn't let me access it, so I didn't figure it out. So that would be great if
Okay.
you figure that out, because I Googled that and I thought that I figured it out, but I obviously didn't.
Okay.
That would
Yeah.
be great if you could investigate that.
Yes, I will follow up on that and let you know.
Okay, thank you so much.
All right, you're welcome. And so we have had other Lex Advanced topics that got into exactly how to set up quizzes and whatnot inside of Brightspace. And so for this, and with the time restraints, I'm just kind of showing you what the Lockdown browser piece looks like in the quizzes tool. So if you haven't looked at the quizzes tool, when you get into the quizzes tool, you end up here on the manage quizzes tab. But there's a tab called lockdown browser. When you get in, you're here on the lockdown browser dashboard, but all throughout, you will see help all over the place. Like this message here says, are you new to Respondus Monitor proctoring? You can see an introductory video and then the guide. Also, these other tabs here help you with additional information. So all throughout, you can find resources. On that wiki page that for this workshop, you will see also there that I've linked to a lot of resources for Lockdown Browser Respondus Monitor. So that's what the dashboard looks like. When you get in and you have a quiz and you want to apply your Lockdown Browser Respondus Monitor settings, you would click on the arrow and then go to the settings. And notice right now it's saying that neither one is required. So to apply the Respondus Lockdown Browser and Monitor settings to the exam, the first thing you're going to do is create the exam in Brightspace. Then you go to the Lockdown Browser dashboard, find that test or quiz, go to the settings, require the Lockdown Browser, configure all of your settings, and then save them. That should be your last step, right? When you do, you'll see that the system will then add this to the end of the quiz name, that Respondus Lockdown Browser. And if you're doing the webcam or one of the monitor features, you'll see those there as well, that's going to be required for this test, right? And so as I mentioned, you should definitely create a practice quiz and require that the students do that. That quiz should simulate what they're going to see when they're actually taking the actual test. You will and should go in and review the proctoring results because you want to see where the student may be going wrong. Perhaps they are in a room that's not, doesn't have a lot of light, so you're getting a lot of flags. So perhaps you can ask the student to use more lighting if they're wearing a hat, or any of those kinds of things. So if you review the proctoring results, you can head off some of your issues. And then this practice quiz should be made available for the entire semester and have unlimited attempts at taking the test. Because a student can take a practice quiz at the very beginning of the semester and they're using one computer, their computer goes out, and then maybe they need to use their roommate's computer. So it would be a good idea for them to be able to get onto that new computer, the one that they hadn't tested yet, and take that practice quiz to make sure that that computer is set up and ready for the test. So as I said, just make it available for the entire semester with unlimited attempts at it. Also in your advanced settings, there's one called Lock Students into the Browser Until Exam is Complete. This should only be used if the students are going to be taking the test in a proctored environment, because if the internet, if there's some hiccups with the internet and they get dropped out of the exam, then they wouldn't have a way to get back in. So if you do not enable this and the internet drops, they can easily get back in and complete the test with the amount of time that they have left remaining. If a password is required, you're going to set that in the Lockdown Browser dashboard, right? Don't add or change the passwords in the Brightspace quiz. This came up recently. And so when this key is here, this is an indicator that a password was applied to this quiz. So after the fact, after the Lockdown Browser settings were enabled, I went in and I tried to add a password inside to the actual quiz. You get the key. Well, now you've created a problem because the password should only be set in the Lockdown Browser. So if you create your quiz, set your Lockdown Browser settings, and then for some reason you have to go back and edit your quiz settings, just go back to your Lockdown Browser dashboard and make sure that you haven't created an error. If so, just click on the little fix it icon and it will rectify that. And I just want to mention that for Respondus Monitor, your options, or you can do the record from the webcam only. You can record the webcam and the student's screen, or you can just record from the screen. And also Respondus Monitor will let you do live proctoring. There's additional information in previous Lex Advanced topics, like I mentioned, and two that I'm going to point out are our Lex Advanced topic on academic integrity, and the other one was on securing the testing environment. I know I went through some information really quickly because we were out of time, but I just want to check in and make sure that we don't have any questions. And while I'm doing this, I think Jay is going to take over and try to do our drawing for the.
I am, yes, I am.
Okay.
So go ahead and ask your questions to Janice while I'm getting this set up.
Questions are still circling in my mind. I gave 3 good ideas, but questions are still circling.
So my question is, how good is AI at helping with like a progressional step type solution? Because in pharmacy, we have patient comes in, looks like this, has a drug reaction, then this happens, A, B, C, as opposed to one step. We're hoping that our level of complexity will outthink AI, but do y'all have any chatter about kind of progressional type of questions or branch type of questioning and how it handles that?
I have not heard anything.
I'm actually going to a webinar next week, Sarah, about AI in medical education. I think I'll probably send you the link to that
Perfect.
as well.
Thank
I don't know if you have
you.
time, but I know other people from Xavier are going to be attending that as well.
Where's it at? Is it online or is it
It's
in?
online, yeah, it's just a webinar.
Okay, good.
So,
I'll send it to Dana and we could share it with our college.
yeah, I'll send you the information sometime later on. And also, we've got your book, so you can stop by CAT anytime you want to.
Then I just wanted to point out that you will earn a badge for your attendance in the workshop today. Earns you a badge, and I think I have some confetti. Well, there you go. All right. And that's all I have.
Thank you all. Janice. Thank you, Janice.
Okay. All right.
Thank you.
Thanks, Danielle. We'll see you in a few minutes. Yeah, I guess.
Yeah.